The great quality of wisdom is that it always responds with precisely what's needed. Like a well-aimed, sharp-pointed sword, it always hits the spot. When we grow in wisdom, we understand and can control our mind. A wise person is always kind and considerate. He always sees what's needed. He lets snowflakes fall on an overheated body. He provides cool water to slake a desperate thirst. The easy path is always so appealing, so why do I prefer the hard way? On the easy path, we take things for granted. We get lazy and bored. This is a formula for trouble and loss. When we go the hard way, we know we can't let our guard down for a moment. We have to stay alert to meet the challenges. Solving problems makes our mind keener and our character stronger. And this is achievement. This is true gain. We all have a tendency to like those who listen to our advice and to dislike those who ignore it. We should guard ourselves against this tendency. If we allow our emotions to influence us, we're guilty of ignoring the Dharma's advice. Love and hate can infect consciousness and jeopardize our ability to perceive clearly, to see with unprejudiced eyes. In the darkness we may stumble. When we control our emotions, we preserve the light. People crave sensory stimulation. They enjoy this kind of external excitement, but I consider such craving a form of suffering. Sensory stimulation feeds on itself, grows larger and larger, and develops an ever-increasing appetite. People will destroy themselves, and others too, in trying to satisfy it. Pleasure derived from the Dharma wisdom is internal excitement. Happiness grows along with the capacity to enjoy it. When given a choice between enjoyments, enlightened people always choose the Dharma. Look, all worldly successes have their downside. The richer you become, the more pride you have. The higher the rank, the bossier you act. The greater your ambition, the more inconsiderate you are. Success in the Dharma works differently. The better you become, the better you become. Waves roughen the sea, and windmill turn because of the wind. Take away the wind, and the sea becomes calm, and the windmills come to rest. For every effect there is a cause. The waves of desire for things in the material world churn our minds, keep up in a constant state of agitation, scrambling in all directions. What do you think could happen if we eliminate desire? The flow of a stream is sluggish if the source is shallow. A water wheel won't turn in it. A tall building won't last if the foundation is shaky. Walls crack and soon the floors collapse. Depth and firmness are indispensable for good work and endurance. The saints knew this. That's why they rooted themselves deep in the Dharma. They become towers of goodness that nothing could topple. Their enlightenment was a beacon that guided and inspired others for generations. Don't be content to study the Dharma, to memorize its surface. Plunge into it. Go as deeply as you can. Limitless heaven and the huge earth are easily seen by the eye, but a tiny piece of lint can destroy the eye's vision. A heart filled with love can expand into the universe, but a single hateful thought can puncture that heart and let the love drain out. Never underestimate the power of small things. The saints always gave full consideration to the tiniest thoughts. Even though 100 persons of great erudition predict failure, the wise person who has confidence in his own abilities will persevere and succeed. Even if these same 100 persons predict success, the person who has only knowledge and not the self-confidence born of wisdom will fail. Book knowledge alone gives rise to doubts, and doubts cause confusion. In such conditions, no self-confidence can be developed. But wisdom leads to trust, and trust inspires insight and clear thinking. Dharma followers pursue the path of wisdom in order to eliminate doubt and put knowledge to good use. Not too long ago, when a person fell into the gutter, he'd feel such shame that he'd vow with his blood to mend his way and never fall again. Nowadays, when a person finds himself in the gutter, he sends out invitations for others to come and join him. This is really sad, isn't it? The only thing we can be sure of is that we can't be sure of anything. The only fact that doesn't change is the fact that all things constantly change. The saints cultivated patience. No matter what situation they found themselves in, they calmly waited. They also understood that in matters of the heart, it's not the object alone that alters, but the subject too, which proves fickle. Desire just might be the most changeable thing of all. Cultivate the habit of going to sleep early. This is the best regimen for maintaining a strong and peaceful mind. People who stay up late need to show off and entertain their friends, or else they're bored and need excitement. Even if they sleep late, they're still tired when they get up, still sluggish in body and mind. They can't work or think well at all. People who follow the Dharma lead fuller, richer lives. They don't need other people for support. Good habits are like muscles. The more they are exercised, the stronger they become. All rivers, large or small, clear or muddy, flow into the ocean, and the ocean responds by yielding vapours that become clouds, which rain and fill the rivers. That is the cycle. The saints show love and respect to all people, rich or poor, good or bad. The people, seeing such exquisite fairness, respond by venerating the saints and trying to emulate them. This too is a cycle. Regard the Dharma as a river regards the ocean, the source of its very nature and its endless renewing destiny. Regard the Dharma as saints regard the people, the object of love and the reward for loving. If you treat other people as separate, or as people different from yourself, you will not be inclined to be fair or merciful in your judgment of them. But if you treat other people as if they were just versions of yourself, you will understand their errors and appreciate their qualities. Are we not fortunate that this is the way heaven regards earth? If one sees only superficial forms of noise and does not penetrate the true nature of auditory reality, one is spiritually deaf. Forms and sounds are only illusions. We use vision and hearing to determine their essence, to understand their true nature. The unstoppable stream of the ego's conscious thoughts cannot stay still long enough to comprehend the truth. Yet people are always trying to think up a barrier to the flow, to use thoughts to stop thinking. Thoughts are like wild cats. We would never use one wild cat to tame another. How then do we enter the state of non-thought? We understand the non-substantial nature of both the one who thinks and the thought itself. We understand that in reality there is not even a single tiny thought of a thought, or a thinker either. When we bear witness to this reality, our own testimony liberates us from bondage of thoughts of having no thoughts. The very nature of mind and body is clear and calm, and possesses not a single thought. It is the ego that thinks, just as it is the ego that thinks that it desires not to think. The ego causes problems if it tries then to solve. To be empty of ego is to hear the soundless sound, to see the invisible sight, to think the thoughtless thought. When one reaches the state of thoughtless thought, one thinks that he is awakened to the Dharma. He thinks about his meditation experience and how it will change his thoughts about his environment. He thinks that it is absolutely wonderful, that he has controlled his mind. It wouldn't be right to say that he has more to think about. Actually, he has less. The clearer the body, the brighter one's Buddha nature shines. In the beginning, we still need the body. It's like a lamp. The Buddha nature is the flame. But we may still be conscious of shadows. As we progress, we feel that the body is the universe itself, and that our Buddha self shines throughout it like the sun. There is no beginning to what came before, and no end to what will come after. It is thought that interrupts the flow of time and calibrates it. It is thought that decides that night follows day, that death follows life, that some things are tiny while other things are huge. What to the universe is big or large, bright or dark, future or past? Acts are small, the principle is great. Acts are various, the principle is one. Those who live the principle, who let its meaning flow through their very bloodstream, never act at variance with it. In whatever they do, they fulfill the principle. Whether busy or at ease, they are never deceitful, never manipulative, they have no hidden motives, and need none. Nothing in the world is gained without desire, without motivation. You can take the route of honesty and be sincere in the pursuit of your desire, or you can take the route of deceit and get what you want under false pretenses. One way or the other, when you acquire the object of your desire, you'll become attached to it, for at least as long as it takes you to desire something else. But between the roots of sincerity and guile lies a path in which neither strategy is necessary. This is the route that leads to understanding worldly desires for what they are. On this route, your motivations die in their tracks while you move straightforwardly on. When you think of a thing, you impart existence to it. Objects which cause desire to arise disappear when the mind's eye closes to them. They blend into the scenery. It is the same with emotions. Hopes, fears, judgments of right and wrong, and feelings of pleasure or misery also vanish when the mind remains uninvolved in the worldly events that occasion them. When uncluttered by worldly refuse, the empty mind can hold infinite space. Peace pervades its purity, heaven gleams, and the harmony of the spheres resonates throughout. The more people try to use willpower to obliterate a desire, the more they strengthen the desire. The additional force only serves to confuse them. They become obsessed with the problem. The more people talk about the Dharma without knowing what it is, the more they strengthen their ignorance. They grow in this ignorance, and soon consider themselves towers of rectitude. They're like fish out of water who attempt to teach others to swim, or like caged birds who offer lessons in flying. If you want to conquer desire, take off its mask and see it for what it is. Instantly it becomes insignificant, not worth a second thought. If you want to discourse on the Dharma, let it become your natural habitat. Be at home in it. Familiarize yourself with human nature by recognizing your own errors and base desires. Instantly, you'll forgive others for their mistakes. Be humble and gentle in your love for humanity. That's the way to set an example for others to copy. Proud rigidity isn't rectitude. It's spiritual rigor mortis. Those who are serious about the Dharma seek the insights of wisdom in everything they do. Whether busy or at rest, whether alone or in a crowd, in every situation they find themselves, they strive to remain consciously aware. Such vigilance isn't easy, but once they get used to the practice, it becomes so natural an activity that nobody around them even suspects what they're achieving. If you subtract a single blade of grass from the universe can no longer be said to be all-inclusive. If you put one tiny thought of greed or lust into a pure mind, the mind can no longer claim to be undefiled. Be careful of small things. Their absence or presence can change everything. The mind expands into the universe. The body shrinks to mouse-like size. To be enlightened is to appreciate the dynamics of the Dharma. When the mind soars into boundless space, the body remains confined to earthly habitats. It is usually found scurrying around in the dark. What a waste of time and energy it is to strive to obtain material objects of desire. No lasting satisfaction can result from acquiring them, since by their very acquisition they have ceased to be objects of desire. They are consumed like firewood and burnt offerings. We spit out the ashes in our mouths and search for another tree to cut down. The saints strove for spiritual insight. They questioned the meaning of life. Achieving this insight, they gained the universe. There being nothing else left to desire, they lit no sacrificial fires. Vast as the universe is, it fits inside the mind, and small as the body is, there is not enough creation to satisfy it. Everything in the universe has one nature. People who live in the nature have all that they could possibly want. The enlightened possesses, the unenlightened desire. The person who considers himself superior to others constantly renders judgments and perceives differences. He rigidly deals in opposites, good or bad, right or wrong. If he follows his own standards of fairness, he'll have to reject at least half of creation. A person who follows the Dharma strives to unify himself with the rest of humanity. He doesn't discriminate and is indifferent to their qualitative distinctions. He knows that Buddha nature is the one, indivisible reality. A person who follows the Dharma strives to remain ever conscious of his inclusion in that one. Mountains, rivers, and the earth itself are parts of the one. The clear mind is transparent, all existence can be seen through it. The mind, clouded by illusion of ego, sees nothing but itself. Strive to realize that you are included in the one. Your body may dwell in the material world, but your mind will understand that there is nothing apart from itself that it can desire. In the Dharma's perfect stillness, the heart perceives and understands everything. There are no words for the tongue to speak, no sound for the ear to hear, no sights for the eye to see. Those who live in the Dharma live in their hearts. It's strange that though their bodies may be decaying, their breath is always like a fragrant, cool breeze. How wonderful it is to be near them. I have learnt so much from people who have been shunned by society. Yes, it's true. Take my advice. If you want to find good teachers, seek out those who have been rejected for being blind, deaf, or ignorant. The objects of the material world are the props, sets, and characters of a dream drama. When one awakens, the stage vanishes. The players and the audience too disappear. Waking up is not death. What lives in a dream can die in a dream, but the dreamer has a real existence that doesn't perish with the dream. All that is necessary is for him to stop dreaming, to cease being fascinated by dream images, and to realize that he has merely been a dreamer. Most people only perceive change. To them, things come in and out of existence. Sooner or later, what's new becomes old, what's valuable becomes worthless. Their egos determine the nature of destiny of everything. When existence is defined in such finite, ephemeral terms, the power to control people and things is naturally seen as an exercise of ego. And why not? Isn't the ego an authority on the subject of change? Of course, when it comes to the one thing that never changes, the ego is amazingly ignorant. Nowadays, people don't appreciate the changeless. They scramble to keep up with every fad and fashion. They're like comedians, desperately trying to acquire new jokes. Their lives depend on keeping the audience laughing. What's truly funny is their conviction that they're free, powerful, and in control. In reality, they're merely helpless slaves to an illusion. There are two ways to perceive the Dharma. The sudden way, the way in which the obstacle of illusion is shattered by a striking awareness, and the gradual way, the way in which illusion is dispelled incrementally, by continuous effort. One way or the other, the obstacle must be destroyed. The Buddha mind contains the universe. In this universe there is only one pure substance, one absolute and indivisible truth. The notion of duality does not exist. The small mind contains only illusions of separateness, of division. It imagines myriad objects and defines truth in terms of relative opposites. Big is defined by what is small, and good by evil, pure by defiled, hidden by revealed, full by empty. What is opposition? It is the arena of hostility, of conflict and turmoil. Where duality is transcended, peace reigns. This is the Dharma's ultimate truth. Though in fact the Dharma's truth cannot be expressed in words, teachers talk on and on trying to explain it. I suppose it's just human nature to say that something cannot be explained, and then spend hours trying to explain it. No wonder people walk away. Well, we could be more entertaining. We could make up amusing stories and appeal to our audience with flattering assurances. Of course, we'd just be piling illusion upon illusion. But what would that have to do with the Dharma? A person who is alone can't hold a conversation. A drum has to be hollow for its sound to reverberate. Absences count. Words limit. Interpretations differ. What isn't said is also relevant. Absolute truth cannot be expressed in words. It must be experienced.